The Cold War wasn't fought with tanks rolling across open battlefields or infantry charges through muddy trenches. It was a conflict waged in whispers, encoded in the click of a camera disguised as a coat button, transmitted through the heel of a leather shoe. For nearly half a century, the operatives of the CIA, KGB, MI6 and Stasi transformed the mundane into the extraordinary. A fountain pen became a microphone. A lipstick tube concealed a single-shot pistol. An umbrella tip delivered death in a crowded London street. This wasn't science fiction. This was the weaponized genius of espionage, where survival depended not on firepower but on invisibility, on blending so seamlessly into everyday life that no one suspected the postal clerk, the diplomat, or the businessman might be carrying the secrets that could shift the balance of global power. When your shoes become wiretaps. The shoe transmitter stands as perhaps the most audacious example of Cold War ingenuity. KGB technicians hollowed out the heel of a standard dress shoe, embedding a miniature microphone and radio transmitter, powered by a battery no larger than a watch cell. An agent wearing these modified shoes could walk into a diplomatic reception, a boardroom negotiation, or a clandestine meeting, and every word spoken would be broadcast to a receiver stationed blocks away. The heel transmitted conversations with remarkable clarity, the very act of walking powering the device through pressure activation. Detection required physical inspection, and even then the modification was so seamless that only an expert would notice the slight weight difference or the carefully concealed seam. Communication equipment evolved beyond shoes into suitcases that opened to reveal complete radio transceivers, fountain pens that recorded conversations while appearing to take notes, and even makeup compacts that Soviet female operatives used to both apply lipstick and transmit intelligence. The genius lay not in the technology itself. Radio transmission and miniaturization were advancing rapidly, but in the psychological camouflage. A woman touching up her makeup drew no attention. A businessman carrying a briefcase raised no alarms. The ordinary became the cover for the extraordinary, and survival in the field depended on maintaining that illusion without a single slip. For operatives working behind enemy lines, navigation tools hidden in everyday objects meant the difference between extraction and capture. The Americans issued compasses concealed in cufflinks, allowing an agent in formal dress to orient themselves during an escape. Golf balls hollowed out to contain maps and compasses seemed absurd until you considered that diplomats and businessmen regularly played golf, carrying these items without suspicion. The British produced silk maps that made no noise when unfolded, printed with escape routes and safe houses, sewn into the lining of jackets or hidden in the false bottom of a shaving kit. But when concealment failed, when cover was blown and escape impossible, agents carried weapons disguised as the most innocent objects imaginable. The KGB's lipstick pistol, a single-shot 4.5mm firearm housed in a cosmetic tube, was issued to female operatives. One twist, one pull of the hidden trigger, and the weapon fired a lethal round at close range before being discarded. American glove guns achieved similar lethality, with spring-loaded firearms mounted right on the palm that fired, when the wearer made a fist and pushed forward. These weren't weapons for extended firefights, but rather tools for creating those precious seconds needed to just, disappear into a crowd. The poison-tipped umbrella, honestly, remains the most chilling example of how everyday objects became instruments of assassination. In 1978, Bulgarian dissident Georgy Markov felt a sharp sting on a London street, turned to see a man picking up a dropped umbrella and thought nothing of it. 3 days later he was dead from ricin poisoning delivered by a tiny pellet fired from a pneumatic gun built into the umbrella's tip. The KGB had transformed a rain shield into a silent, undetectable murder weapon, proof that in the shadow war anything could kill you. The Cold War ended, but the lessons of that era resonate today for anyone interested in survival, preparedness, or the art of concealment. These operatives understood that survival wasn't about overpowering your enemy, but outthinking them, that the best weapon was the one no one knew you carried, and that adaptability, the willingness to see potential in the ordinary, separated those who came home from those who didn't. For modern survivalists and history enthusiasts, these declassified tools offer more than Cold War nostalgia. They demonstrate how observation, creativity, and understanding your environment create advantages that brute force never could. Subscribe to Fieldcraft Chronicles to explore more hidden histories and forgotten survival techniques. Share this with fellow history lovers and preparedness-minded individuals who understand that the past holds lessons the present desperately needs. The tradecraft may have changed, but the principles endure. Stay sharp, stay hidden, and never underestimate the power of the ordinary object in extraordinary hands.